Today on BladeHQ.com, we are taking a look at the Boker Plus Subcom. Cool little folder, fits in the pocket nicely. We're going to go over the specs on it as well as compare it to the Rescom by Boker, the Nano by Boker, as well as a Spyderco Ladybug, just to kind of throw a little bit of brand variety in this overview. So let's get to it. First of all, the overall length on this knife is 4.5 inches. The blade length is 1.8 inches, so not a huge blade by any means. And the blade steel is AUS 8, so you get what you get there. And for the price, this is $28.99 currently on BladeHQ.com. Not a bad gig, right? Cool design on this one, I like. And by the way, this one is a slip joint. I'll show it to you in comparison with this other one that is a frame lock. But the slip joint has these two detent spots, so right there it's going to click into place and then all the way locks into place. Now it looks like a frame lock, but it's not by any means. Notice I'm not touching the frame lock, and it's a slip joint, so that detent ball is just going to slide into place and keep it where you want it. I like that design there, because if it did happen to fold on you with the slip joint, you've got your finger right there in that groove, and so in that index groove, and you're not going to chop your finger off at first blow. I mean, you always could, but yeah, that's a nice feature there. That finger's just gonna, if you're using it hard, that finger's gonna help keep that blade in spot on the slip joint. So this is the orange handle, orange Zytail scale on it. Nice generous lanyard hole there. The pocket clip, it's not super deep carry, but one of the guys at work carries this model, and I always think, wow, that's pretty deep in his pocket. So deeper carry is what I'll call it. A little bit of jimping there, and right there on the detent bar. The weight on this one, 2.4 ounces, so that's definitely a plus, being a smaller knife. Like I said, overall length is 4.5 inches. So show you it in the hand. I mean, I'm missing a finger and a half when I grip it, so you don't get your whole hand on there by any means. One nice thing about it, ambidextrous thumb, not really a thumb stud. I don't know what to call that one. I'm going to call it a thumb stud for lack of other vocabulary, but it's not so much of a stud as it is more of a thumb plate, half disc maybe. So left or right-handed carry, not going to be a problem there. And you don't actually have to hit that lock bar to close it. It's kind of habit because of frame locks. So let's put this one aside for a second. Now notice, well, let me show you the two of them right next to each other. Exact same knife. The only difference that I can see is when you get right down there where the lock meets up with the blade on the slip joint is just a little bit longer right in that area, so it prohibits that lock bar from coming over and engaging. You've just got the detent on there, whereas if you look at this black one, the frame lock, they've cut off a little bit more on the blade, allowing it to lock into place. So let's check the blade play on this one. Front to back, I don't feel anything. Side to side, that's just wiggle. That's frame wiggle, I guess, is what I'll call that. It's not blade play as much as just the flex. So, cool design, and I do like the lock bar. I'm not a huge slip joint fan myself. I mean, on a Victorinox, I think it's great, but I know in a lot of areas you can't have a locking folder, so that slip joint is going to be a necessity. So I do like the lock on it, easy one-handed opening and closing. And that black Zytail is a little more low-key than the orange. Now the cool thing about this knife, it also comes in a couple different varieties, and we didn't have those in stock at the time of filming. I think there's a Wharncliffe version, a gray version, a titanium version, and a pink version, if pink is your color. And I think this is cool too. They've basically taken the exact same body of this knife, so frame, everything, changed the color, and they've made it into the Boker Plus Rescom. runs in the same price range, $26.95. This one is $28.99 currently on BladeHQ.com. So under $30 range, and they've turned it into this sweet little rescue hook. Now, I'm not an emergency personnel. I make YouTube videos. That's what I do. But I think if I were, it would be nice to have like a dedicated tool. I mean, the Benchmade Triage is awesome because you get the knife with a blunt tip plus the rescue hook on it. But at the same time, if you're not carrying that particular knife, this could be great in just a side pants pocket, like a cargo pocket, or in a backpack that you carry all the time, that sort of thing. Or even you could throw this on your, what do they call that? The sun visor in your car, and just roll with it there. In case there's ever an emergency, it's got that blunt tip, it's got that rescue hook, and the serrated edge right there. And I'm sure it would just rip right through a seat belt. No worries at all. Or a cord, whatever kind of emergency situation you get yourself in. Or find yourself in. I don't think you ever want to get yourself in them. I think you just kind of find yourself in them. Blade centering, pretty close on that one. Not dead center, but close. Let me show you blade centering on these others. That one looks pretty spot on to me. Yep, that one's pretty spot on. And then the last one here, dead spot on. Pretty close, a little bit to the left. Now these are made in Taiwan, as most Boker products are made overseas. So just keep that in mind. Quick comparison. Let's take a look at the Boker Nano. This is a little bit more expensive. It's got 440C steel on it. And so you're getting a little bit better steel. About the same size, 4.7 inches long, and the overall, or the blade length is 1.8 inches. The exact same blade length on these two. Just different knife designs, just depending on what you're looking for in a small knife. Both nice knives. Zytel handle on this one, kind of the Jens Anso G10 sort of look to it. It is Zytel, but budget knife, cool, but you can kind of see the comparison between them. And last but not least, actually, let's compare this one real quick. Spyderco Ladybug 3. Almost the exact. The blade length is 1.9 inches versus 1.8 inches, but you kind of see just your options here. The Ladybug weighs, I think, 0.6 ounces, so under 1 ounce. The cutting edge, similar size, different blade shapes, obviously. Not as much girth in the Ladybug. Plus the name. I don't know who wants to carry a knife named a Ladybug. I think that's kind of it's not very manly. Let's just put it that way. Say it like it is. But this could be a great one for your keychain, that sort of thing. But no pocket clip on it. But I just wanted to kind of show you the options. This is $30.95. This is $28. So you kind of get two different styles. We got the back lock versus the frame lock. But I mean, as far as weight, it just depends on what you're looking for in a small knife. If that's what you're after, small weight, that sort of thing, you might look into the Spyderco Ladybug. Whereas if you're looking for more of a manly knife that's not going to question your man card, this Boker Plus might be more up your alley. I would feel perfectly confident carrying either of these. Check out that lanyard hole. Man, that is thick. That is a big one for such a small knife. So, just some things to think about. I always like to pull a few off the shelf, just kind of give you some ideas. If you are shopping for a knife, you kind of get an idea of what you're looking for. Let me show you this really quickly in comparison to a tactical clothespin, just so you kind of get a size reference. So 3/4. No, the tactical clothespin is 3/4 the size of the Subcom. And the blade thickness on this one is 0.05 of an inch-ish. Handle thickness is just over 1/4 inch. And the blade grind on it is probably around 15 degrees, I'll bet. Right at about 15, maybe a little bit less than 15 degrees on it. And last but not least, let me show you it with a glove on, just if I'm not sure if this one would be one that I'd really need a glove on, but just to give you an idea. A little bit more space in the hand there. I don't know, that feels a little bit better in the hand to me with the glove on. Just kind of makes it feel like I've got more in my hand to work with. So, pretty cool little knife. I just wanted to show it to you really quickly here on BladeHQ.com. And by the way, that is the place to buy all of your fine cutlery, BladeHQ.com. If you're interested in this knife, buy it now.